Audira Faslihana from Chemical Engineering Group 2. Our group discussion in Unit 3 and 4 is about procedure and system. I hope you guys enjoy watching our group video. Thank you so much for watching.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
How are you today?
I'm good.
My name is Audira Faslihana and my partner.
My name is Zaki.
Today, I'm going to talk about procedure and system in Unit 3 and 4. Let's get started. Table of contents. There are 6 points in total, divided into 2 points in part 1. Well-discussed problem, the grammar is present continuous passive. Solution, the grammar is non-defining relative clause. And control, the grammar is linkers or contrast. In part 2, we move on to discuss shutdown. The grammar is two-part phrasal verb. Overhaul, the grammar is noun derived from phrasal verb. And instruction, the grammar is or versus written instruction, well or as plus ing. Next. Now, let's look at the problem. Problem are any deviation or malfunction in physical system that occurs in operation to not conform to the expected standard specification. For example, first is car battery problem. The second is flat or under inflated car tires. And third is physical damage to the car due to impact. To give you an idea, there is a short video about this topic.
Welcome to Recall Alert. Honda has announced a major safety recall affecting more than 256,000 vehicles in the United States, due to a software defect that can cause the car to unexpectedly lose drive power. The recall applies specifically to certain Accord hybrid models from the 2023, 2024, and 2025 model years. The issue stems from faulty programming within the vehicle's integrated control module. Under certain driving conditions, the module's internal CPU may reset while the vehicle is moving. When this happens, the car can suddenly lose propulsion or experience a temporary reduction in power, creating a potential safety risk for drivers and passengers. Although the error is linked to only a very small percentage of the recalled vehicles, the manufacturer has received several hundred warranty claims connected to the defect. At this time, there have been no reports of injuries. Owners of impacted vehicles will receive official recall notifications by mail. The repair will be provided at no cost and involves reprogramming the affected software at an authorized dealership. Until the repair is completed, owners are encouraged to check their vehicle S-VIN using the official recall lookup tool and schedule an appointment as soon as the remedy becomes available. If you drive one of the affected Accord hybrid models, taking action promptly is the best way to ensure your vehicle remains safe and reliable. That's the latest update on this important recall. Stay informed, stay safe, and always check your vehicles regularly for any new alerts. Thanks.
Grammar is present continuous passive. The present continuous passive tense is used to talk about an action that is in progress right now, but where the focus is on the action and the object rather than the person or things performing the action. The passive structure for affirmative object plus is or am or are plus be plus past participle. For interrogative, for negative object plus is or am or are plus not plus be plus past participle. For interrogative, is or am or are plus object plus be plus past participle. For example, the engine operation is being conducted right now. The brake test is not being conducted yet. Is the new airbag system being installed? To give you a better idea, here is a short video about this topic.
The present continuous tense describes things that are happening now. let's look at the structure. This is affirmative example. Object plus am is are plus being plus past participle plus by and subject. Example 1. The woman is feeding the elephant. This is an active sentence. Now let's change into passive sentence. The elephant is being fed by the woman. After affirmative, let's look at some more negative sentences. So, this is the same sentence structure. Remember, we need to add not between the verb to be and being. The cars are not being driven.
Anyone who wants to talk to me for the dialogue? You will be Aldira and I will be Hafiz. Hi Dira, how is the work on car progressing in the issue with the brakes serious?
Good afternoon, Hafiz. So far, the work is being handled regarding the brakes. The brakes pads are being replaced right now. It's always a stage.
That's good to hear. And the oil light
We've checked that the oil leak is being fixed as we speak. It's not a major issue. It was just a small dust.
So, there's minimal chance of further engine damage.
Absolutely, the probability is low for any major complication. Everything is being done carefully.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's look at the solution. Solution are written over expressment action of component required to restore the braking system to its optimal function to ensure safe and responsive stopping power. For example, first, automatic braking system. Second is this brake system repair. And third is brake maintenance on motorbikes. To give you a better idea, here is the short video about this topic.
Hey there, ever wonder how your car stops so smoothly even during emergencies? Well, today we're diving into the fascinating world of the anti-lock braking system, or ABS for short. Let's get started. The anti-lock braking system is designed to prevent you from locking up your brakes. It works by releasing and then reapplying the brakes to car wheels in heavy braking situations. The anti-lock braking system control module is found in the engine compartment of most vehicles. A faulty anti-lock braking system will turn on the ABS warning light and brake system light. You may experience an unresponsive brake pedal. The brakes may get locked up. It will turn on the check engine light on your dashboard and store the anti-lock braking system related error codes. Stop driving. If both your ABS light and brake system light come on, repair your vehicle immediately. To keep your ABS in top shape, regularly check your brake fluid levels and get your system inspected by a professional. And remember that ABS warning light on your dashboard. Don't ignore it. So there you have it, a quick guide to understanding your car's ABS.
The grammar is non-divided relative clause. Non-divided relative clause is a clause that gives extra non-essential information about the noun that is already clearly identified. Common phrase for automatic braking system, which is connected to the master cylinders. Example sentence is comma, the brake pedal, which is connected to the master cylinders, requires sufficient force. Reminders, always
Non-defining relative clause. A relative clause is a clause that comes after a main clause and provides more information about someone or something in the main clause. Here, we are going to look at the non-defining relative clauses. For example, I found an interesting topic which I researched further. I found an interesting topic is the main clause, and which I researched further is a non-defining relative clause. The relative clause is providing more information about the topic, which is something mentioned in the main clause. However, the information that the relative clause is providing is extra. The information is not necessary to specify or define the topic. It is just some additional information, and that is why it is called a non-defining relative clause, or the extra information relative clause. If I just say, I found an interesting topic, and omit the non-defined relative clause, then the sentence is still okay. You have less information, but the sentence is complete. That is why this clause can be omitted, and hence it is separated from the main clause with a comma at the beginning of it or with commas around it. In our example, I found an interesting topic which I researched further. The word which is called a relative pronoun. A relative clause starts with a relative pronoun. Which is the relative pronoun used for things, and who is the relative pronoun used for people.
Anyone who want to talk to me for the dialogue? You will be honest and I will be aware.
The prototype reading system, which is designed for high speed, failed during the heat test.
I know, although we added coding that will prototypes with this material.
So let's try carbon composite. This material offering outstanding thermal resistance should handle it.
Right, I prepare the test immediately certificate the permeability must be ensured.
We must ensure the molds, which become wrapped from the heat, are completely replaced.
Even though we are facing a tight deadline, the installation procedure must be perfect.
Agreed. Our team has been working for needs a successful outcome.
Now let's look at the control. Control are mechanisms that allow an operator or computer to regulate, control and change the motion, speed and direction of a physical or aircraft. For the example, first is machine control panel, second is hydraulic brake control system diagram, and third is avionics software and flight control. To give you a better idea, here is a short video about this topic.
Part of the process to validate our new control system and also the new FPV system, we are working with Telstra Purple and also AWS for the data collection, data storage and enhancement of the data. We'll be using also the pilot control station with a new control layout based on HOTAS system. So it will be a throttle, a joystick and some pedals to be able to control it kind of like a fighter jet. So that's a new control system that we are testing. The process of testing it is first using our simulator where we have connected all these new controls. The second part is testing it on a small vehicle that will be scale 1 compared to the Mark 3C. And the last step is validating it in testing environment and racing environment on the Mark 3C vehicle.
We've got an extensive history using simulators to help develop my skills as an FPV pilot and racer. So it's been a pleasure to work with the software engineers to develop the simulator not only for the pilot testing ground but as an engineering testbed. part of that testbed is to validate the HOTAS system, which is a hands-on throttle and stick, which is a more traditional way that aircraft are controlled. Obviously, it isn't something that I'm used to, so it's been a process to develop my skills on the HOTAS using the simulator, which is an awesome representation of the physics of the aircraft.
The grammar is linkers of contrast. Linkers of contrast are word, a phrase, or clause used to connect two ideas, statement, or clause that are an opposite, contradictory, or contrasting. However, to start in a sentence that contradicts what was just said, although, or though, or even though, they introduce a surprising contrast within a single sentence, in spite of or despite. They are usually followed by a noun or a verb ing, while or whereas. To compare two different verbs directly. On the other hand, this is used to present a different point of view or a second option. For the example, the concept car looks fast, but its current battery range is short. Even though to allow from its light crash test result required more reinforcement. To give you a better idea, here is a short video about this topic.
Okay, so this is a mini class on how to use contrast linkers in speaking and in writing. To show contrast, we need to make a difference between unexpected results and when we speak about a direct opposite. When speaking about unexpected results, we can use even though, although, or though. Pay close attention to how the punctuation is used. In the case of the last sentence, we can put though at the end of it. It was cold. I went swimming though. The meaning is similar to but. It was cold, but I went swimming. However, though is softer. This usage is very common in spoken English. We can also use conjunctions with but anyway, but to of still and yet and still. We can also use transitions such as nevertheless, nonetheless, and however. Finally, we can use prepositions such as despite or in spite of and its variants. All these sentences have the same meaning. The idea of cold weather is contrasted with the idea of going swimming. Usually, if the weather is cold, one does not go swimming. So going swimming in cold weather is an unexpected result. It is surprising that the speaker went swimming in cold weather. When speaking about direct contrasts, we can also use adverb clauses with while and whereas. Pay attention that we normally put a comma before while to make a difference with the time expression when things happen at the same time. We can also make use of the simple conjunction but and transitions like however or on the other hand. Pay attention to how we can change the order and the punctuation. In the Cambridge speaking exams, when you do the picture task, you're asked to compare and contrast images. So you can combine these structures in a sentence like this. Although the man on the left is covered in mud, he seems to be quite happy with the competition. However, the lady on the right might feel too self-aware.
You want to talk to me for the dialogue? Okay. You will be honest and I will be auditor. Our report can control algorithm surprisingly well on the ground, showing promise for a unified control system.
Although it is efficient and predictable on the ground, the response in the air is very slow. The wind and turbulence sensors are proving to be much more sensitive than ground traction sensors.
I agree that the reaction time is a critical issue. However, we must still retain the same core software structure and code base for cost efficiency and as of maintenance.
Nevertheless, we must prioritize designing a faster feedback loop and introduction predictive elements into the control log to ensure flight stability and pilot responsiveness.
Perhaps a parallel, high-purity test specifically for hydrodynamic input correction without rewriting the main car algorithm.
There's a sound compromise. It allows us to meet the flight compatibility requirement while preserving the original system score, achieving the efficiency we need.
Thank you. That's all for me. Now the next part will be explained by my partner Hafiz.
The shutdown is controlled action broadcast from a fluidly operational state set to a stationary of states involving the question of movement, the removal of power, or question of action. An example is first turbine shutdown operation. Second, equipment shutdown. And last, the last emergency for the stop the flow. Next.
STV or shutdown valve has the function to shut off the flow of fluid inside the flow line or pipe. It is most used for safety purpose, that is, emergency shutdown. For an instrument engineer, knowing the philosophy of the purpose of a shutdown valve is very important, especially where a shutdown valve will be installed, what fluid flows, and what standards as design reference. Here are some things you should know. There are some valve types available in the market: gate valve, globe valve, butterfly valve, ball valve and many more. But for shutdown valve the most is ball valve. There are so many valve actuators on the market, but which one is suitable for a shutdown valve? Here are some things you should consider when preparing for the process system. As the function of STV, that is, for emergency needs, an actuator must be able to close the valve quickly. The standard is 3 seconds. You should explain to the vendor that they must make calculations for this actuator. And this will be adjusted with the valve to be used, adjusting the need for stroke power to close the valve.
Tremors is tuple torsion probe. Tuple probe is a combination of microbe and one particle which is critical and adverb or application to from a single semantic unit. Interactive probe plus particle. Intransitive probe and particle. No object need always and separable. 2. Transitive probe and probe plus particle plus object. Regulars and object can be separable or inseparable. Separable probe plus object plus particle or from the object can come between probe and particle must be pilot in the object is pronoun. An inseparable verb plus particle plus object. Object must follow from and particle always stay together. Example is the circus breaker tripped immediately when the shot occurred. To please connect the nail wire to the terminal block carefully. And 3. You must turn the power supply off before touching any cable. And last, the maintenance team will go through the entire wiring diagram in by him. Is the video?
Phrasal verbs. What are phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs consist of 2 or more words. The expressions are often idiomatic, which means they don't have a literal meaning. For example, she looked up a word in her dictionary. In this sentence, looked up is a phrasal verb that means checked or searched for. He looked up at the sky. In this sentence, looked up is not a phrasal verb because it's the action of using your eyes to look plus the preposition of direction, up. How do we form phrasal verbs in English? A phrasal verb contains a verb and 1 or more particles. A particle can be a preposition or an adverb. What are transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs? Like all other verbs in English, phrasal verbs can be transitive or intransitive. Transitive phrasal verbs must have a direct object. Direct objects can be either nouns or pronouns. On the other hand, intransitive phrasal verbs do not have a direct object. Let's look at some examples of transitive and intransitive phrasal verbs. I can't figure out the answer to this question. I'm free on Sunday. Do you want to come over? What's the difference between separable and inseparable phrasal verbs? If a phrasal verb is separable, the direct object can come after the particle or go between the verb and the particle. If it's inseparable, the object can only come after the particle.
We must immediately switch off all power to the main fan.
Copy that. Exploding. I have already turned off the main breaker and mechanics are preparing to cut off the freight flow.
Crucial step. Make sure you write down all the basic parameters as the machine slows down now.
And also ensure you press that all categories and zero energy before proceeding.
Critical. Double check that and make sure you also call the sensitivity to monitor the release of any residual energy.
Understood. And don't forget we need to immediately perform the take off or take off once the system is complete, shutdown and start. Thank you. Overall is a major comprehensive remark of an engine that is process complete disability to inspect, clean, repair, and replace damaged component. The example is overall on design engine. Second is dismantled of vehicle engine to repair its component. The last This painting are less introduction and industrial intent. This is the video.
Howdy folks, and welcome back to No Guarantees. I went to the junkyard today and picked up this 96 Vortec 350, and I'm going to try my hand at rebuilding it. A ton of sludge in here. I mean, inside these ports. This is the first one that I've ever rebuilt completely, top to bottom, and done absolutely everything with. And I think it turned out great.
The grammar is nouns derived from phrasal verb is a single word format be meaning of verb and is particle and conjunction as noun. Take off, verb plus particle, hyphenate nouns. Breakdown, verb plus particle, single compound noun. Giving up, verb plus ending, error noun. Look up, verb plus particle, hyphenate nouns. Turn over, verb plus particle, single compound nouns. Example, first, the machine record a high share of power during its initial takeoff sequence. And two, we must perform preventive checks to minimize the right of critical equipment breakdown. Three, the engineer giving up on diagnosing the intermittent one was not an option. And three, the maintenance now include the time spent on reference to opt for observed error code. And last, a high turnover of hydraulic fluid indication of potential lack somewhere in the system. And last, we need to order more challenge before the progress. Is the video?
Participle in English. Have you ever noticed how some verbs in English seem to take on new roles? Meet the present participle, a versatile verb form ending in ing that can act as an adjective or help form continuous verb tenses. In this lesson, we'll break down the present participle, its formation, and its many uses in English. Let's dive in and master this important grammar tool. Present participle, or participle 1. A present participle is a form of a verb, typically ending in ing, that can be used as adjective to describe a noun and in continuous tenses to show an ongoing action. The present participle is formed using the formula participle 1 equals verb plus ing. So, as you can see from the formula, the present participle is formed by adding ing to the base form of the verb. It's simple, right? Anyway, for most verbs, we just add ing. For example, play plus ing equals playing. Read plus ing equals reading. Watch plus ing equals watching.
Before we start the review, we must verify the total takeaway from the all components.
I have finished the full takedown. The wear and tear was more worse than expected, especially the bearing clearance, causing the lost vehicle.
Worse than expected is a major concern. Ensure all new parts meet original equipment, manufacturer specification and tolerance.
Affirmative. I have already tagged the all part for the disposal and confirmed the inventory of no-sell and gasket.
Exactly. After the setup is complete, we are monitoring the power output and oil pressure closely during the first startup.
Understood. The goal is absolutely zero unscrupulous downtime after the major overhaul. Instruction is upgrading the tiny step-by-step guidance for carrying out technical work. First, example procedure for installing and soldering and electric capacitor on PCB. And second, IC line soldering procedure on PCB. And last, surface mounts defined SVD soldering procedure. This is a video.
PCB assembly is a step-by-step process that turns a plain board into a working electronic device by adding and soldering components to it. It all starts with solder paste application, where a stencil helps spread the paste onto the board's pads. This paste, which is basically a mix of tiny solder particles and flux, helps create strong electrical connections. Once the paste is on, a pick-and-place machine carefully puts electronic parts like resistors, capacitors, and microchips onto the board. Since this step is automated, it makes sure everything is placed exactly where it needs to be. Next up is reflow soldering. The board goes through a conveyor belt inside a reflow oven, where it gets heated up, just enough for the solder paste to melt and bond the components to the board. Once it cools down, it goes through inspection and quality control to catch any issues, like misplaced parts or soldering mistakes. This is done using tools like AOI or X-ray testing. If the board has through-hole components, they go through an extra step called wave soldering, or sometimes even manual soldering to make sure they're properly attached. The last step is functional testing, where engineers check if the PCB works like it's supposed to by looking for any short circuits, open connections, or other issues. This step makes sure the board is good to go before being used in a final product. If you need high-quality PCB assembly, HiPCB has you covered with precise manufacturing, strict quality checks, and affordable solutions tailored to your needs. Every component goes through a thorough inspection to meet industry standards and prevent defects. Plus, We give you a detailed test report so you have full confidence in the reliability of your assembled PCBs. As part of our quality control process, we provide you with full X-ray inspection footage of your board, so you can see every solder joint, especially for BGA and hidden pad components.
The grammar is obvious written instruction y or us plus id. The grammar is simultaneous action refers to action that are carried out at the same time within a technical procedure, typically expressed using the rules such as while plus and or at the same distance. Chapter use while or as plus from ing formal consist. Use while or as you are plus from ing clear repetitive. Time marker rarely includes expected time markers. Frequently used and at the same time simultaneously. Interaction, no direct feedback. It includes confirmation, got it, understood, and analytically sequence can be interpreted, repeated, or fragmented. And last, punctuation, reference, consistency, demonstration, clarification, real-time training. Example is pressing the reset button, observe the LED indicator to ensure the calibration progress and started. And second, while turning the flow control valve, monitor the pressure gauge reading so it don't exceed the safety limit. And last, you must connect the ground wire to the front wire and ensuring the terminal connection is free of forage. This is the video.
Express that two things are happening at the same time, but we don't exactly use them the same way. First, we use while just to express that two things are happening at the same time, and that's it. So you could say, she took a nap while we were eating dinner. However, we use as to express that two things that are happening at the same time are progressing or changing together. So you could say, it got hotter as the day went on. We also tend to use as when something unexpected or unplanned happens at the same time as something else. For example, I got a call from my mother as I was walking out of the store. And we can use the phrase just as to emphasize that something happened at the exact same moment as something else. For example, I got home just as he was leaving.
Habits ensure you follow the written procedure for conversion. Don't rely solely on verbal directions from the supervisor.
I understand, sir. There are high price of error which are only instruction. I will double check the checklist.
Exactly. While confirming the wiring connections, make sure you match up the cable colors on the selected physical installation?
We would sign I am working on the relay action. I will immediately lock down the vortex and encourage reading before making any adjustment.
Good. And before you reassemble the covers, make sure you obtain the verification signature from the senior technician for the calibration results.
Affirmative. Provided instruction report are their reference, I will not do a very critical step and result while testing the new circuit board. Thank you.
Okay, we will now open a Q&A session. Does anyone have any question?
I have some question for you, group. What is the difference between despite and in despite of, or how are they used in sentence discussing transportation technology? Okay, thank you.
How can we describe a physical problem using the present continuous passive tense and give example sentence?
Okay, next.
For soldier surveys, mount device, or SMT components on PCB, provide one example of an instructional sentence that uses the while plus verb in structure to indicate two actions performed simultaneously. Then explain why and how to proceed technical tests such as these with instructions using this structure are generally more effective than oral instructions.
Okay. Give us time to discuss.
My question is, what is the difference between despite and despite of, and how are they used in instant diffusing transmission technology? And this is and in spite of have the same meaning and function, that is they indicate of question and can be used interchangeably. The main difference there is in the degree of formality. In spite of them to be more formal and is less frequently used in everyday technical context. Despite is more common and frequently used in contemporary English, including in technical manual, article, or automotive discussion. Was before we parasol or here. I agree.
Yes, thank you for the answer. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, I will answer my question. The question is, how can we describe a physical problem using the present continuous passive tense and give example sentence? The answer is, physical problem can be communicated using the present continuous passive to report, repair, or inspection action that are currently in progress. The focus of this chapter is on the problem itself as the object being addressed, rather than on the person performing the action. For example, the operating engine is being diagnosed to determine the exact use of the temperature state. Do you agree with my answer?
Ini question mau sih in where temperature for solving surface one device or SMD component on a PCB provide an example of an instructional sentence that use the while to action for perform simultaneously, then explain why. In a highly private technical text, use text as this. Written instruction is structure and generally more effective than oral instruction. Example of applying this structure is while applying solid pass to the PCB part. The full arc the assembly component while the printed by using tweezer. While an instruction use the while plus from ENG partner are more effective because they provide consistent and fixed procedure clearly. Technicians can use them as reliable reference that can be reviewed reliably without change in meaning, thereby minimizing error as we forget, honest or misinterpretation is used instead often others while oral inclusion, which can be often be auditory distraction or validation in images. Moreover, the weapon format ensure that every critical step to as simultaneous alignment and pass application is documented in the correct way to guarantee quality, safety, and reproducibility of the work we